Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Economic Briefcase on Camnet TV. I'm your host today, Lubinda Hawazoka, with my co-host, Mr. Noah Njapao. So Njapao has been not the week, but the day.
The day has been all right. Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the program.
What has changed between now and last week?
Well, a lot has changed. You know, new updates on the market. We have new happenings on the business and political scene.
So today, you know, Zambians normally talk about something when it's in fashion, but consistency is, you know, is on a far-fetched side. So, for example, we normally discuss, you know, the need to diversify from the, you know, from mining to agriculture when copper prices fall. We talk about agriculture when the rain is about to just start or they just start. At this period, we are almost harvest time. We've recorded quite some good rains and floods in some areas. I don't think we've experienced droughts, you know, in some parts of the country.
And I think also the Ministry of Agriculture has just closed the farming season.
The farming season was closed yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, and for this purpose today, dear viewers and those that are just listening, there are some people that just listen. You can, you know, call your friends, your relatives, and tell them that today we are going to discuss the agricultural landscape for 2023. We are going to hear some tips and some advice on how you can enhance your agribusiness, what crops to plant, what not to plant, what you need to do if you harvest your crop, what is selling where, and so on and so forth. Now, before we introduce our guest, as per tradition, we need to know what is happening on the money, capital, and commodities market. And from now, market updates. Honorable Njapao, over to you.
Okay, the market update as of today, the 23rd of February 2023. Let's look at the kwacha and how it's doing against the four major currencies. So the kwacha closed selling at 19 kwacha, 67 ngwe against the dollar. The kwacha closed selling at 23 kwacha, 73 ngwe against the pound. 20 kwacha, 91 ngwe against the euro. 1 kwacha, 8 ngwe against the rand. Selected metal prices delayed by a day. Aluminium closed off selling at $2,418 per ton. Copper closed selling at $9,112. Zinc closed selling at $3,057. Lead closed selling at $2,105.50. Tin closed selling at $26,848. Nickel closed selling at $26,431. Crude oil prices. WTI crude closed selling at $75.28. Brent crude closed selling at $82.01. So we added one slide on the products that are on demand at the Kasumbalesa border, or Congo to be specific. Kablangeti beans, Congolese meda, is going at 60 kwacha to 65 kwacha. Soya beans, Congolese meda, going at 25 kwacha to 30. Dry cassava, that's 100 kg, is going between 400 to 5,000 kwacha. Goats, going at 400 to 1,300 kwacha each. Village chicken is going between 80 kwacha to 130 each. Ginger, 50 kgs, is going at 350 kwacha to 450 kwacha. Garlic, 50 kgs, is going at 1,100 to 1,300 kwacha. Tomatoes per box, going at 150 kwacha to 300 kwacha. Nakonde rice is going at 90 kwacha, Congolese meda. Potatoes, 90 kgs, going between 1,200 to 1,400. Cabbage is going at between 5 kwacha to 20 kwacha each.
Well, looking at those prices, I think I give myself a raw deal because I normally buy potatoes maybe 60 kwacha you know, just 2-3 kgs. Maybe it's high time I started buying 90 kgs, to save a lot.
Definitely buying in bulk is always...
I think buying in bulk is a lot. And I think for our farmers, we can see basically what is obtaining. Kasumbalesa price is quite volatile. And I think what we need to know is that the Congolese now, you know, are becoming, they know that in farming there's power. I know in terms of mini meal, they are not only importing from South Africa now, but South Africa gives them stable supply. They also have state farms. I know Moise Katumba and you know, the former president Kabila, they have very big farms in Katanga. I remember visiting you know, Congo and you know, met the agriculture minister, and basically he was talking about how they don't want to import anymore. They don't want to listen to anybody talking about importation of foods or any product. They want manufacturing to occur in Congo, and they want, you know, people to, you know, to go and farm there. I remember being offered, I think, 6,000 hectares of land on a state farm. They said, come and farm. And
basically, they've taken steps in making sure that they reduce on imports.
Of course, you know, you cannot be at the mercy, because the problem with Zambia, anytime something happens, we close the border thinking we are punishing anybody. You can't punish, you know, an empty stomach. There are always ways. Those guys have access to the sea. They can import by the sea. Of course, the advantage that the Congos are cut into two by the forest. So there's Congo Katanga, which was former Katanga, now has been broken down into 4 other provinces with its different governors. But you know, that area is more like typical Zambia. They are importing from Burundi, Rwanda, Tanzania, also getting things from South Africa.
But you know, some of our people would actually argue saying when we close our borders, we are trying to secure our interests.
I think
first,
we are less than we're thinking 1991, because now this is 2023, and the last time I checked, nobody's going to be waiting for a supplier who's not consistent. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I'm not mentioning the kwacha almost hitting 20. On that note, I would like to introduce today's topic. Today's topic is agricultural landscape for 2023. And our guest today is a person who is not a stranger to this program. This is an agronomist, a person with, you know, I call him high caliber and social status in the field. This is a person who knows agric like, you know, no man's business. This is a person that, you know, you need to go and ensure that before you are venturing on your piece of land, you get advice on how to do things scientifically, because what we went to school for is not material for, you know, just for throwing in books. So our guest today is Mr. Eric Mwenda, an agronomist. And ladies and gentlemen, today we are opening the phone lines from the start, so you can call us. You can also send your text messages on the numbers that are appearing on the screen. You can tell your neighbors, your brothers and sisters, your husbands, and everybody that you know. If they are traveling out of the country, you can watch us on DSTV or Topstar. You can watch us on YouTube. You can also watch us on Facebook. We are being watched now in over 90 countries, and basically, if you involve social media and internet, we are being watched worldwide. Mr. Mwenda, it's a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Doctor. It has been long, being here, and it's really my pleasure once again.
No, it's a pleasure. You know, anything for the agriculture sector, you know, we're willing to engage, and you know, for me, it's a passion at the farm. Unfortunately, you know, I'm not growing because I think that you can't delegate. My farm is far from here. I've been unable to delegate. I'm sure you know that farming, you need to be there.
Of course.
So if you are saying you are feeding chicken, you need to see to it that the chicken has been fed the right quantities and the right quality of feed.
At the right time.
So unfortunately, I can't find anybody whom I can, you know, I can delegate the farming, where provide the resources, they do the farming. If there's any person who's not going to steal, we are on a Christian channel. So if you are ready to be delegated, please get in touch on the numbers that are appearing on the screen. The farm is yours. We can start by growing tomato. So Mwenda, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome to the program, Mr. Mwenda. Nice to have you again.
All right.
So today we are basically discussing the agricultural landscape for 2020-2023. Just in general, we can discuss the recently closed farming season and the farming season that's about to start. And we need to discuss these things early as possible. Yes. So how's been our season so far?
The farming season, how has it been?
Well, this past season has been very, very challenging. We've seen certain areas, I think in terms of weather, I think we've seen a lot of changes in terms of weather. Certain areas where we never thought we could get some rains. We've been hearing places like Gwembe being flooded, and those are the areas where we're saying those are dry areas. And of course, we've seen some other places like the northern part of Zambia. At some point, it was showing that it was not raining. But then eventually we started seeing the rains coming in. So it has really been very challenging. And I think as we are talking right now, a few other farmers in terms of maize growing, they've actually seen their maize drowning in the waters. Right. And I think it has been really not been very easy for them. And apart from that, we've seen also from the vegetable side, we've seen quite good prices happening in the cabbages, in the tomatoes. I think prices of 300, 400 kwacha a box in a tomato, I think that's quite a very high price. Most of the times we get somewhere around 20 to 30 kwacha a box. But when you see prices going somewhere above 300, 400 kwacha, I think it's a signal that there's a big shift in what is happening in the agriculture sector. And then apart from that, I think it's also important to note that we've also seen some good prices even in the chickens, the ordinary chickens, the ones they're calling the village chickens. And we've also seen even on the broiler side, we've seen actually a very big shift. And of course, it has come with a lot of other different issues in terms of the global economy. I think with the wars happening in Ukraine and Russia, that side, we've actually seen that there's a big problem in terms of the pricing of fertilizer. I think when we're beginning the season, especially the main season, we saw the prices of fertilizers, especially the D compound and the urea, going above 1,000 kwacha, 50 kgs. But right now, when the season is closing, we've actually seen the prices again coming down to somewhere around 900 kwacha. But then at least, at this time when it's happening like that, it really has got no impact whatsoever. But then I think we are hoping to see a good season happening. We've also seen, even in the crops like soybeans, we've seen there's been a lot of anxiety in terms of people growing soybeans. It was also there even in the start of the season. A lot of farmers actually got into it. But again, in terms of prices, we are still seeing that the prices are still almost at the same rate compared to last year. And I think what is also causing that is that the majority of the farmers kept, some of the seed, they did not sell it. They were anticipating for a good price, but that has not happened again. So what that means is that it's on a 50-50, level. But I think what is also key is that farmers now should be prepared to start focusing on either they actually go into one particular crop and go big, because when they do that, then they take advantage. Even when the prices are still low, they still get advantage in terms of selling volumes. Okay. So I think so far so good. Yeah, we expect good things to happen.
So our the rainy season, did the rain start on time, and what are the effects of what we're seeing now? Because of course too much of something is also bad. So maybe you can talk about did the rain start on time, and going forward what we're seeing, floods. How are these floods going to affect the harvest?
Yeah, so what is going to happen here is that, maize has got a cycle, like a growing cycle. For example, from the time that you are planting, the majority of the maize that we have in Zambia, we've got, of course, the early maturing varieties, we've got the medium maturing varieties, and then we also have the late maturing varieties. So all these varieties have got a time frame in which they grow. So what usually happens is that, like for example, right now, where, for example, the early maturing varieties, most of them were planted late December. And as we are speaking now, I think in the second week of March, thereabout, we should start harvesting. So now, at the time when they are being harvested, we're getting a lot of rains. So what that means is that most of it now is rotting. There's a lot of cob rot. Usually what happens is that when the water gets into the cob of the maize, it means that the maize will actually start getting the diseases of different kinds. So the crop rot actually comes because of favorable weather, the heat and the rain coming together at the same time. So we are seeing that most of it now will go to waste because of apart from just the diseases. The flooding is also coming in, and then apart from that, what is also happening is that there's a lot of anxiety amongst the farmers because now they are actually expecting a very high price in terms of the maize. But as you know, maize I think is more political, so it's very difficult to say to go at that price and that price. So, but the farmers themselves are actually eager to say, okay, maybe this year I should grow a bigger field because of what has been happening now. Because some of the farmers have actually lost, but some of them have actually gained quite a lot, especially places like northwestern.
Would that also be the reason why prices of other crops are going up? Because of course it's good for the farmers when the prices are going up. Like you spoke about tomato being, having a good price now. Would that be the same reason why we're seeing high prices in certain commodities?
We are seeing very high prices in certain commodities, especially on the vegetable side, because of very few farmers usually manage to grow a crop when it's raining heavily, because the cost of production becomes very high for them actually to produce a crop. And apart from that, very few of them will actually manage to actually produce a crop because of the diseases that that come during the growing period. So what usually happens is that when we have the weather not being very good because of too much rain, it means that the supply from the farmer side will be actually very low. So low supply means that they can now dictate the prices. So it's actually the aspect of supply and demand. So it means that there's so much demand, almost everyone. Our population is growing every day. People want to eat, but then the food is not there. We've got limited food on the market. So what happens is that the prices actually are going up. And then it's also triggering the fact that, when you look at the global issues that are happening in terms of our exchange rate now is going up to about almost reaching 20 kwacha. Mm-hmm. And of course, so what usually happens is that there are certain farmers that would want actually to buy some things outside the country. But then they realize that they need to ensure that they have more kwachas, to change and do the business. So that is also affecting quite a lot of things. And what usually happens is that, farmers now are busy asking, say, okay, what type of crop can I grow? But like I mentioned earlier, I think it's important that they need to really focus and they need to get in touch with the agriculturists so that they actually guide them according so that they don't make these mistakes.
When you look at farming, for example, if I want to go back to my piece of land, should one of the viewers come forward and say they are going to help to be delegated to, what crops or what type of activities should one look at in terms of growing post rain season, provided that I'm going to have, my farm is by a stream, so I have the water. So what would you advise? Tomatoes? I once grew lettuce and I filled my small truck with lettuce, and I just started growing without knowing where to take it, and I started selling, and I'm telling you I was being ripped off especially by colleagues from the east, where they were telling me that 5 kwacha per kg, and I said I would rather just throw the lettuce. I gave to my gardener, the maid, and they went and found some market somewhere. So what should we do? How do we prepare ourselves post rain season?
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Lazuk. I think what is also key here is that, first of all, we have got a lot of advantages now that we've got too much water again. So what is going to happen is that in certain areas where there was no water, these farmers now are able to even have an extension of their agricultural activities. So what that means is that the lakes or maybe the water bodies that were there that were drying up so fast, immediately the rains are going, immediately the rains go, they were actually finding out that they were actually stopping to grow the vegetables because the rains are not there. But now we've got a lot of water that will still be there even for the next 3 months or 2 months to 3 months. So what happens is that farmers now will be able to have a wide range of different crops that they can grow. So in terms of the crops that can be grown, one, I think I've seen a very good business opportunity in growing the fresh maize that we're able to sell as a green maize, so to say. So what that means is that the majority of the farmers have grown their maize, now they are harvesting, but now there's always something that triggers to say, I can only plant the maize when the season starts. But there's also another opportunity that comes just immediately after the rains. So, and that one of those crops is the green maize that you are able to grow. I just want to give just a few numbers so that at least it gives some business sense to someone who is watching this program. So in terms of maize, of course, when you're growing a hectare, for example, that field of yours that you have, and the good thing about maize is that it's not all that labor intensive, as long as you are doing those other management aspects that you need to do. So in a hectare, you actually buy one bag of 25 kg of seed. And then apart from that, the one which is very preferred is the yellow maize. The yellow maize is more preferred for the hawkers or for the people that are selling in the street. I think it actually does quite well. So the 25 kg bag of maize will have a minimum of about 50,000 cobs or 50,000 plants.
Wow.
That's quite a lot. So if you're talking about 50,000.
25 kg bag, how much is the seed costing?
So the seed costing somewhere around 1,100 kwacha,
okay.
The yellow maize, thereabout. Maybe at the most, maybe the price may go up to 1,200. So for argument's
That's for 1 hectare?
Yes, for 1 hectare. So you get 1,200 as your cost for your maize seed. And then secondly, there's always a standard that people talk about the fertilizing, but usually as an agronomist, I wouldn't want to talk in public to say you go for 4 bags D and 4 bags BAT, because that's a blanket recommendation. So we always go according to the soil test recommendation, then you say, okay, fine. So, but then for now, we're going to talk about the blanket recommendations of saying, okay, we go in with our 4 bags as a basal dressing fertilizer to start with. So 4 bags, if at the most we put it at, for example, right now it's about 900 kwacha. So we say 900 kwacha times 4 bags.
About 3,600.
About 3,600, yes, 3,600 plus the 1,200. So we already have about 4,000, we can always calculate.
Yes.
And then apart from that, then we also put in our top dressing fertilizer. Again, of course, our urea, which is about another 4 bags of top. That will also, the price is almost the same, another 3,600. So that then apart from that, then we also don't forget the armyworm chemical. So with the
armyworm must come, and the thing with armyworm is, the year I started farming, that's when the time we heard about armyworm. Yes. So this thing is still there.
Now it has come to stay. The only thing we need to know is how we control it.
That time we used to use that, no, one feeling that sopo yapo Tanzania. Then we mixed. Then we found that it would burn the crop, yes.
But now we've got specialized insecticides specifically for controlling.
And because there's no rain, you are watering, so the thing is effective.
Very, very much. It will actually go in very, very well and protect your maize nicely without problem. And then apart from that, you need to make sure that you are also controlling your weeds, controlling the weeds. So in a hectare, maybe when you put in a chemical, usually maybe about 3 liters or so of a chemical, which is a weed killer. So you go in with a chemical which is both pre-emergence and post-emergence. Pre-emergence before the germination of the maize, and post-emergence just when the maize is coming up. So this chemical can actually be applied at those 2 windows. At first, when the maize is just planted, and when it's just coming up, you can still apply it at that particular time. So it will be able to control your broadleaf weeds as well as the grasses. So meaning that your field now will be free from any weeds that may affect it. So when you do that, usually the maize that we're talking about will mature within a period of about 120 days, 130 days, maximum, maybe 135 days, depending on the weather. As long as you are getting into the cold weather, you see a bit of delay with the maize, but eventually it picks up when the weather starts warming up. So what that means there is that you'll be able to get about 50,000 cobs from 1 hectare. So even if you say you lose about 10% of that, you lose 5,000 cobs.
From my workers eating, because when I was growing, every time I go to the farm, the worker will be on a cob.
Yes.
So every time you go to the farm, the guy is eating. No shame, the owners come, no shame, the guy is just eating.
Yes. The costing and things like that. So for example, if we harvest, say, for example, even 40,000, for argument's sake, 40,000 cobs, Usually they will sell them, like for example, in these markets, I mean in the farms, the farm gate price, so to say, you would sell your 1 kob at either 1 kwacha 15 ngwe is the cheapest of the cheapest price, but mostly 2 kwacha 15 ngwe and 3 kwacha are the average prices. So if you, for example, you sell at the average price of 3 kwacha a kob times 40,000,
120.
so you're getting 120,000. So it makes more sense for you to get into a green maize project, especially after the rains, and you're able to get more revenue out of it compared to when you're just planting it for, to take it to FRI and things like that.
How often do you water the maize?
So how often do you water the maize also depends on your soil type. People that have got sandy soils.
Me have sandy.
You see, I've got sandy soils. It means that you can be doing it, once every other day.
Okay.
So you water today, you skip a day in between, and then you water the other day. But then that actual watering, you have to do it. For example, if you have to make sure that when you're watering, you have to go down the soil, and you have to be very practical and just put your hands there. If you put in your hands at this level, and you find out that when you do your soil like that, you find that the soil is not wet enough, it means you did not water enough. But when you put your hand there and when you remove, when you just scoop the soil, and you still find that the soil is wet enough, then that's it. That's okay. That's very, very good.
That's for the sandy soil.
That's a measure in the sandy soil. So, but again, in the clay soil, it's very easy to tell because the clay soils are mostly those ones that you hold. The moment you just put your fingers there in the clay soil, you are able to see that actually the soil will come to your hands. It sticks to your fingers. So meaning that the moment it sticks to your fingers, then you know that the soil is already wet. But I think what is also key is that eventually after a few days, you're able to say, okay, I've been watering, maybe after 1 day, but now it looks like the soil is drying so fast. Maybe the heat is too much. Again, when the temperature starts warming up, it means that you have got frequent irrigation. So meaning that maybe you're going to be watering every day. But mostly every other day is very practical. So what that means is that maybe 3 times in a week of watering, that's fine for maize. That shouldn't be a problem. And then sometimes when it's very, very hot, if you planted, say, for example, after September, October, it means that you'll be doing almost every other day. Almost every day to do the watering. But the most important thing is that you need to aim to get your nice cobs on average. If you get just 1 cob per plant, times 40,000. That's what I was saying, 40,000. But there are certain times that instead of selling at 3 kwacha, maybe you find some people have found that sold at 4 kwacha, some people have sold at 5 kwacha. That's very good money. So maize is one of them. And apart from that, you can also grow garlic. This is the right time for garlic as we are getting into this particular period.
The price is really good.
So garlic is very good. I think when we're checking the Kasumbalesa prices, it was going 50 kwacha, 50 kg
for about
I think even about 1,100, 1,300, just for a 50 kg bag. And you find that if you grow a hectare of garlic, that's quite a lot. Of course, in terms of quantity of seed, it's about 400 kgs of seed, and then eventually you get about 5 to 6 tons in terms of the harvest.
That's 6,000 kgs?
Yes.
Then divided by 50.
That's about about 300? 300 bags by 50 kgs.
Yes. Then
somewhere there.
Yes.
So now imagine you're selling 1 bag, maybe I'd say, even if you sell at 500 kwacha or 600 kwacha, that's quite a good amount of money.
Yes. Good amount. But so, how the condition for growing garlic in our country here?
So it has got to only 1 window, which is now. Between now and maximum, will go up to about May. So it favors the hot weather that we get now, and then the cool weather, it will start developing the tubers, and immediately it starts warming up after July, then it becomes mature. And then by September, October, you start harvesting. And then you're able to keep it even for 1 year.
You can dry, yeah?
So yes, so it's actually one of the good crops that one can grow because, even when the prices are, most of the times, the prices are very, very stable. When you go to these Tuesday markets, you find that a box will go for 400 kwacha, 500 kwacha, just one.
Papa, can do tomato, Newton F1.
Tomato is a serious.
Yeah, tomato is
no, but tomato.
You have been hit by tutor.
So it's a serious crop, but it's also one of the good crops because tomato will give you an income throughout the year. if you have grown a good variety, you harvest for about 6 months, and you keep it maybe for another 2 to 3 months. So you have 8 months of keeping your tomato in the field. So it gives you regular cash. But then the headache of spraying, watering, and things like that, it's quite evolving. So you need someone who's very committed, someone who's got a big heart.
Not my employees. You just find them eating a cup of maize. Or you go to the farm, you find there's no one. Then when you come back, they'll tell you,
Oh.
Every time you go to the farm, all of them are out.
Okay.
Then somebody will tell them that your boss has come, I've seen the car, then they will reappear running to
That's the reality, right?
You know, one time, we were trying to talk about the other factors of farming. So one time, I went to because we work, so I went to the farm on Saturday.
Okay.
I think I arrived around 12, and I would carry that, you know, the one of the supermarket has those fried chickens and what. So I would take, so the guys go and enjoy. So I reached there. That weekend, they did not expect me. So I reached lunch hour, I found they had sat. Then I saw eggs in a bowl.
Okay.
Senga manya mkwetea nkanga. No, nkanga tade umfwa. Shile bikira fapa liponse.
Okay.
So ni senda na rash tuare chungu. But the guy na tomato, there was tomato and sambuki. They were almost frying. my so I just brushed aside. Then I had brought those tomato seedlings, and you know, I think one was like 2 kwacha or
yes.
4 kwacha. Yeah, very expensive, and I had bought something like 500 or, you know, small. Yes, so it was a lot of money. So I said, colleagues, you need to start at least latest tomorrow.
Okay.
You need to plant. You know, you plant either in the morning or in the evening. Yes. Yes.
When it's cool.
When it's cool, yes. Have you seen? I know these things.
Yes, I've seen.
So I decided to go and pay a surprise visit on a Tuesday.
Okay.
The place where we dropped the tomatoes, that's where I found the seedlings. And they were dry. These guys did not even take an effort to even water them. That's how bad
these workers,
the workers can be. But the guy is nicely paid, talk time, phones bought for, bicycles and everything.
And they still do that?
They'll still do that. Then they'll tell you, no, in Koko, Mboachilia, wali wachile choni chukuru chona chile katane chukuru, no insoka na ipwamani, and you know, every time they call you at 06, just know there's a problem. That's the problem with farming. So maybe it's better you live there so that you don't receive the phone calls, you see for yourself. And make sure that at night, you close access of the workers to the farm arrangement. Yeah. That's what I've come to believe. Not that they'll call me, it will never happen.
No, it will never happen.
When are dairy animals, yeah? Now you can go, and you know, one costs like 12,000, 15,000, yes. They're very expensive. They would call me, no, this one, it can't stand up.
Okay.
You are not bringing a vet, it has died. Then I say, I'll come. Don't touch it, we need to do postmortem, I'll come. Then I'll let it rot a bit. After 2 days, that's when I'll reappear. And then one time they told me that we have buried it. Where have you buried it? We have forgotten. Can you forget where I have buried the cow?
Was a real story from the farm.
You're watching Economic Briefcase on Camlet TV. Today we're discussing sharing experiences about farming. You can call us and send your text messages. Let's see, Director, if you have any messages, we can maybe share some interest. Good evening, sirs. Why have you allowed science to destroy our way of farming maize today? The maize grown can't be replanted. We have to depend on an unstable market. But long ago, you harvest and leave some for replanting. No, that's true.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of talk on that, where they're saying the new seeds that are being introduced are unable to reproduce because now there's no
okay, so the how can I put it? There are two things here. There's the business side of things, and then there's just the traditional way of doing things, like maybe just a household just planting for home consumption. So what that means is that the maize that we have right now it can be replanted. But it has got a lot of disadvantages in the sense that, you know, when you get this paper, for example, you see you're able to see this. If you photocopy this paper, it means that you're not going to get the original color the way it looks like. So the more you photocopy the paper, the more you see the color fading. So what that means to a farmer is that if you continue planting this, we call it recycled maize. So what usually happens is that you're actually reducing your yield. If you're supposed to get maybe 10 bags out of that field, you're only going to get maybe 1 bag.
Is it because it has been genetically modified
No,
to
there's
act
no.
that
In
that
Zambia,
way?
in Zambia right now, we don't have any GMOs. We don't have any GMOs in the country. I wouldn't want to talk more about the GMO issue because that's more, again, at another level. But what I can simply say is that the majority of the maize, actually all the maize seed that we have in the country, there's no GMO.
Okay.
So the GMO seed is completely different from what we have here in this country. And for your own information, Zambia is the biggest, producer or grower of the maize seed, for example, right now in Africa. Because I work for the seed company, and I think I'm talking from experience where we've actually supplied quite a lot of maize seed to different countries, including our neighbors.
In Congo, yes.
Even in Congo.
Yes, when I met the agriculture minister, some of the company where you work for,
yes,
I was well represented.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
I think I saw even some varieties on his table.
Oh, okay.
Yes, in the boardroom there's a lot of Zambian produce. The problem with us Zambians is that with too much politics and less trying to make money. The whites in Mkushi, they have locked themselves up. They are busy making money. Even our current president, he made his money from farming.
From farming, yes.
So the problem with us is that if we are discussing politics, phone calls. But because we are discussing something that makes us to work, we don't want to work. Or maybe when we give you a job to work at the farm, no, Amani.
Speaking of Mukushi, I have a colleague who's a water engineer. And he was going to fix some irrigation pipes, pumps at a farm in Mukushi. So he was literally picked up from, the nearest town?
Okay.
Yes, from a landing strip to be taken to a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, okay.
So these guys are really literally locked up themselves somewhere in the bush, and they just fly their
There's so many things that are happening there. They are growing macadamia fruits. They are growing this. They are growing that. They are doing quite a lot of stuff.
Okay. So coming back to the seed issue. So back in the day, we would see people plant maize, keep the seed for another farming season, and it will still perform well. So I still strongly feel that the seed that we buy, that we buy from these agri dealers and all that, I still feel that it is genetically modified to not reproduce.
Okay, so the thing is, we are also looking at when you were saying that, yes, because even me, I've got that experience. I think my father, even my aunt used to grow that. They'll go to.
You keep a bit for the next season.
Then they keep for the next season. Yes. But you see, the thing that was there was basically just for home consumption, just to feed my family, my children, and things like that. But now, when you are looking at it on the business sense, when you go that route, it means that you are shooting yourself at the back. You're not going to go anywhere. So when we say that, yes, it was doing fine, we are saying it was doing fine in which sense? What level was that? So the level that we are saying is that you're just growing just to satisfy your children.
Do we still have, when we were growing up, from my grandmother, from my mother, we used to go to the fields in Bara, in April, that's when we used to harvest. Then there was this maize that blew in it.
Yes, blue.
Do we still have it?
It's still there.
Where can I find it?
I don't know, but I think you can find out from there. Because that's a maize that you used to keep for some time. So you keep some and then you plant and things like that.
Yes.
I'm sure there are certain people. I just see it on Facebook where people just post.
The one that used to be eaten by termites.
Yes.
Because it didn't have the But I hear our colleagues, when they are given seed to plant, they wash it.
Oh.
Yes, I'm told they are washing off the...
They're washing off the chemical.
Yes.
That's very dangerous.
So we're anticipating a cyclone. I think there's an alert that has been put up, and I think I don't know, maybe in the few coming days. What effect will that have further on our farming or on our harvest? Since now we are closing our farming season.
Like I mentioned earlier, and that's a very good observation. So what is there is that we'll actually see most of the maize being flooded, for example. So someone's maize now ready for harvest, or maybe getting ready to be harvested, but then because of the anticipated rains, it means that the maize will flood. And then secondly, when you have got too much water, it's actually the breeding ground for a lot of diseases. Then you find that again, most of the maize will actually have a lot of diseases. And then apart from that, we're going to see a situation where, you know, the anticipated yield that we're expecting as a country is definitely going to reduce because of such aspects. But, of course, there's always a reserve that we get from food reserve agencies. They always keep something. So we may not see the effect very much because of, you know, FRI may come in and, you know, offload the...
So for a farmer who has heard about this and now they're just speculating, or should I go ahead and remove early? Should I wait a little bit?
Okay, so I think the farmers now, they need to be in touch with their nearest agriculture officers. So they give them that, you know, there's always information from the meteorological department, which actually says in this particular area, especially this particular area, will have, you know, this thing happening like that. So we are expecting a cyclone in this area or that region. So farmers in that region, they should just get ready to say anything can happen, you know. And, you know, it's quite very difficult because these are just natural disasters. You know, they're very, very difficult really to like prepare. The only preparation you can have is just in the mind that such a thing can happen. But otherwise, there's literally nothing you can do if your food is there and then the water is there. So
you are watching Economic Briefcase on Camnet TV. We have opened our phone lines. You can call us and interact. You can call us from anywhere. If you are feeling shy, you can send a text message on the numbers that are appearing on the screen. Director, do we have any messages? It seems our Camnet viewers are Man U supporters.
They've all gone to watch
soccer. So what's happening in our country when we have maybe...
and our first Man U supporters has just scored. Yes, your name and where are you calling from?
This is Peter Jura calling from Kabuta.
Kulisha Kabwe.
Yes.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask the best chemicals used in tomatoes. I have a problem. There's put the action in the tomatoes. So I was going to ask you if I can be recommended which chemicals can I use?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. So if you have tuta absoluta, there are different chemicals that you can use. The first thing that you need to look at is that the chemicals that you are going to use should have different formulations. The first one that you are going to use will be like, maybe I would say, conventional chemical, which should have the following active ingredients. You can actually look for trade names. So one of the active ingredients that you should look at for that particular chemical, you need to have a chemical called emamectin benzoate. Emamectin benzoate is one of the active ingredients. Then apart from that, if you can also get a chemical which has imidacloprid in it, so you find that the combinations of emamectin benzoate and imidacloprid. And apart from that, you can also go in with another chemical called cut-up hydroxide. So if you get cut-up hydroxide, that will also control the tuta absoluta. And of course, other chemicals which should have those active ingredients. And then you should also now add on the other one, which is biological, so that you break the cycle. So the one I'm talking about in terms of biological can be neem. I think most of the people know in this country we have a product which is called nimbecidine, which is a neem-based insecticide. It's a biological product. So these other ones are more the conventional ones, and then the other one is biological. So that combination will actually break the cycle or break the resistance in that particular crop. So,
but it's possible to kill tuta.
It's possible to kill tuta, but you need to use the right chemical with the right dosage and at the right time.
Our second caller, your name and where you calling from?
My name is Mutale.
Yes.
My name is Mutale. I just want to say that we are watching a very interesting program. I followed the man in the middle there, and they had how we are the family part of it. And you also followed the other man. I think I always there when the program started. It's I don't know.
Yes.
But the workers, yes, I agree with you. They are let down. Because you find that for those of us who try to do farming, you are here in Saka, then you just drive there over the weekend to go and see what is going on, and you find that there is a lot of drawback, So I think living there is also something that can make your farm expand faster, and you can have control of things that happen. Yeah, I totally agree with all the presenters. I'm listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Contribution.
So I don't like saying a lot of things about my personal life on TV, but I decided to move from the Copper Belt to Lusaka. I have a 20-hectare farm on the Copper Belt by the stream, proper.
Okay.
I made sure that the charcoal burners did not move in. I had a lot of trees, lot of goats, cattle, chickens, tomato, whatever, anything, and it was a bit far, so I was not abusing like eating vegetables. Okay. So I'll just go maybe during the weekend and go and didn't watch football. Why should I watch Wayne Rooney when he's making money? Me, I'm, So I decided to move to Lusaka. So I paid the guy. Let's pick this phone call first. I'll tell my story about workers. Yes, your name and where are you calling from? Your name and where are you calling from?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. My name is Alex.
Yeah.
I'm calling you from Lusaka.
Yes.
Yeah, the program is very interesting, and I'm happy the gentleman is okay and the agronomist. Actually, the way he came out in terms of quantification of the inputs of the 1 acre, maize field, is more like of my professional being a quantity surveyor. So we do the inputs and then we do the outcome there. Mm-hmm. So he mentioned that those figures that put together, and then you realize something like 120.
Yes.
For that 1 acre arrangement. I think it's quite encouraging to most of the youths that those figures have been reviewed. It was very few people knew that farming is what money, especially the maize you talked about. I think this is very good, and I'm sure. Like for me, I think I'll try on my piece of land, and then I'll still call you because I've picked the number here so that I can share. But otherwise, I like the classification, the inputs, the labor, the chemicals, and finally the sale price and the total realization in terms of the money. So thank you very much, and I think we're enjoying the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Even here I've been caught unaware over the fresh meat, but I think it's you said that sometimes it's more profitable to grow fresh maize than maize for selling to the Chigayos.
Yes, it's true.
It's so I decided to move to Lusaka and pay this guy 4 months salaries.
Okay.
Say, this is a new job, I want to have leave, I want to be coming, I want to settle down. So I'll pay you in advance. When we know, you can have all a profit. After 4 days, my neighbor calls.
Not 4 months, but 4
days. My neighbor calls and say, your animals. They are as if they are wild animals. They are just moving around. The goats have been closed.
Okay.
So thieves who were coming to my farm, they were coming to get a goat, kill it right in my farm, clean it up, get the meat and go. So people just, my workers had just abandoned it.
They had gone somewhere
They had
else.
gone. I found my water pump. I had piped water everywhere. The dam had the tanks of water pumps. Now everything gone. I just told my neighbor to say, my brother, whatever you can find there now belongs to you. Because Zambians also don't want to help.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they can't come and say, okay, no, I'll look after you, I'll find you. No one can help.
That was sad.
And I couldn't move
Very
because
sad
I was
experience.
working.
That's
That's how the end of my farming.
Oh, that was too much.
So I vowed for me to farm, I need to go and live there. So that when I've bought formula, actually the one for giving dairy cattle, what's that one? It's a very expensive feed for when they are giving milk. It's a very expensive. When you are feeding, you have to look. They'll be giving you cattle number 3, then the normal feed that they are selling to your neighbors.
Oh, okay.
That's basically what happened. You say, no, we have a corner. Try to clarify. Your name and where are you calling from? Hello, your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
You can go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. I want to give a comment concerning the army. Every next season now, we are fighting with the army. To is there something the government can do, or the restrictions can do, to ensure that we fight army and we get rid of it? Is it like 2000 very difficult?
So is there anything we can do to kill Tuta and Amiwem?
All right, so there are two things here. So the first thing is that the government wing through the Ministry of Agriculture, there are just certain areas where maybe the farmers have reported to the officers, and then the government will go in and actually spray on behalf of the farmers. Such things there in the country, even as we speak.
Okay.
Then apart from that, the problem that is there with the farmers is that they always have a hearsay of saying, they would say Tuta is difficult to control, Amiwem is difficult to control, but the problem that is that they always get the wrong chemicals. Because there's no way that you get a wrong chemical and they're going to spray it on Tuta or on full Amiwem. It will not work. It will not work.
Result.
So the most important thing is that let them go to the chemical companies, they ask the questions, they will give them the right chemicals, then they can go and spray. Otherwise, they will just keep on saying it didn't work, or they will lose their fields and things like that.
Director, let's conclude. Let's check our last messages before we close. I'm enjoying the discussion. Being a small-scale farmer, where can I find garlic seeds? Kombe from Serenge.
All right, Mrs. Kombe, you can get in touch, I think, through the number that are scrolling there, and then we'll be able to guide you where you can get your garlic seed. Thank you.
Eric, you're an expert in agriculture. I don't know whether it's in agronomy. Why can't you form a WhatsApp group where members can ask anything, anytime? Look what happens in Kenya, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya. What about here in Zambia? Why can't you engineer? We'll start charging even this one.
I think we should do that. No, we've got several WhatsApp groups, but I think maybe through the numbers that I mean, when you get that message, please, can you direct it to me so see how best we can help that one.
Good program, Doctor, and others. Kindly connect me to credit facilities for irrigation systems in Zambia. Vaskombe.
The same.
Yeah, even me, I want the same irrigation
system.
I think CEC will give you the money.
Yes, CEC.
Yeah, they are very.
And also the CDF now.
CDF, you can get all those things.
Yes.
Just go and sleep at your MP's house if you want to vote, because let him deliver. The president has said, in fact, I have a clip I can send you on WhatsApp. Okay. Where you can show your MP and say the president has said this. Good evening, Mr. Mwenda. Why is orchard farming a failed project in all provinces? Is this due to poor soils or no markets? Choma.
Oh, that's a very good question.
Very good question.
Yeah, it's not even about the poor soils. It's just about can I use the word branding? It's the issue of branding. You know, like it should come from somewhere to encourage someone to grow it. And then two, people should know the profitability, the values of the orchard. Because I mean, right now, we still get our oranges even from South Africa,
Yes.
things like that. But we have very good soils where these oranges and all these bananas can actually be grown right here.
Actually, it's very sweet bananas.
It's just the information that people need.
I'm looking forward to a time when we shall have people running the Ministry of Agriculture who understand what agriculture is and be able to come up with methods of farming specific and adaptive to the Zambian land. We should not, by now, be producing our own organic fertilizer. People should stop buying with killers as they destroy the land. Though we have companies, making fertilizer here in Zambia, I don't see it being cheaper because in the name, because company in the name of dollar going up, they raise the price unnecessarily without justifiable reasons. Cheap seed is a cost to a farmer. Where is it?
The more expensive.
Cheap seed is a cost to a farmer. The more expensive, the more yield a farm will have. Next. No more messages. I think that those were our last set of messages.
So with the last one, it's I don't know how I can answer it, but I think the farmer needs to know exactly what he really wants in terms of what they want really to grow. Because there's also even an organic way of farming. You don't need to use all the fertilizers. You can still do organic farming depending on what you really want to do, on what you're focusing on to do. And then apart from that, it's also knowing the precision farming, the best way of doing things. And like just having hearsays where you say, okay, I've heard that this thing works. Then you just rush into an agro shop, you buy the product that doesn't even work and things like that. So I think we just need a lot of communications with a lot of farmers so that we give them more information so that they have got right decisions to do these things.
And there was another point saying we need people who understand agriculture to be heading certain sectors of our ministries, our agricultural ministries.
Yeah, some questions are very, very difficult to answer.
So,
no comment. On that lighter note, so that we are not fired in the morning, you are watching Economic Briefcase on Camnet TV. Mr. Mwenda is definitely coming back. What is Freto Apangindama? You know, Banjeva 1 acre. I 1 hectare, 120 pin. I don't think I'm going to sleep because if you want to be a millionaire, just do 10 hectares and that will be 1.2 million. And I think the cost will be about 300 million. You are watching Economic Briefcase. Our guest was Mr. Eric K. Mwenda, an agronomist, a resident, guest on our program, and my co-host Noah Njapao. See you next week as we discuss yet more interesting topics. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.